Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Profile Matters. This is your host, Kameron. Hi, guys. It hasn't been too long, thank God, since this previous episode we just did. So now we're back with our next episode, Sexy Psychopaths, Myths or Reality. So what we're doing is, in this episode, we're going to discuss, psychopaths. What draws us to them? Why are they so, intriguing and sexy to us? And we're talking with Dr. Kameron Gneiting. And we also have some really cool news that we're going to share with you at the beginning of the episode. So, stay tuned for that. In this episode, we're going to discuss a couple of these, in popular media, we do have a way of glorifying, serial killers or sociopaths and psychopaths and stuff like that. And even in books, there's Gretchen Lull in, the books by Chelsea Kane, where she plays a serial killer, which is a great book series, by the way. There's Alice Morgan, who's played by the wonderful Ruth Wilson, who's personally my favorite little psychopath. In the show Luther, she's just very resourceful, very smart, and we've got Sharon Stone, who's got a whopping IQ of 148, who played Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct. We've got Fatal Attraction, we've got The Following, Hannibal, who played by Mads Mikkelsen. And even that show, I forget his name. One of my viewers actually told me his name before, but he was the guy who played Mr. Grey in 50 Shades of Grey. But he's in another show where he plays a serial killer who's into strangling people. Go figure. But all these men and these women who play these psychopaths and killers and stuff like that, they're sexy to us. But why? Why are we drawn to the dark side? So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to discuss that with Dr. Kameron Gneiting. So, I've also got an extra person that's going to be in there. You guys will be kind of excited by that. My fiancée Jessica is actually going to be gracing us with her presence this time, which is pretty cool. So go ahead and listen in, and we'll slice this open and start poking around. Okay, we are back with Dr. Kameron Gneiting.
Yay!
Welcome back, Dr. Kameron Gneiting.
Hey, Cameron, how you doing?
I am doing good.
I am so glad.
I am actually going to start off by announcing the good news first, rather than make you guys wait and sweat through the very end of the show and be like, well, what was that news they were going to tell us about Dr. Kameron Gneiting? What's going on with her? She is actually going to be our new co-host. Congratulations!
Yay! Woo, woo. But you can actually call me Kathy. Catherine is only how I sign my name, so it's Kathy Gneiting.
Dr. Kathy Gneiting. Dr. Gneiting. So she'll be co-hosting, because we were just talking about this earlier, but our show is Profile Matters, True Crime, and Psychology. Well, we'll have some episodes where we'll talk about some stuff that happened to true crime, ask her opinion on stuff, but we'll mostly have her in there for the psychology. Which is perfect, because we can always have her back, and we all know she's a beam of light, and you guys love her so much, so let's have her on the show. So today this episode is called Sexy Psychopaths, Myths or Reality, and this is her last guest star appearance.
Yes,
because now she'll be co-host.
I'll actually be co-hosting.
She's getting promoted. And of course, my lovely fiance Jessica is here. Say hi, Jessica.
Hi.
She will chime in every once in a while. She's,
if I deem it necessary, yes.
If she deems it necessary. And other people are probably like, oh my God, she's actually real. He wasn't making her up.
And she has some great input.
And she'll have some great input, I'm sure. So I guess first question, which would have been, what is a psychopath? But we asked you guys if you have a question about what is a psychopath, or a little bit more of a breakdown, refer to the episode where we first had her on, episode 4, the Red Room. But if it's online, I believe it's episode 5, the Red Room. because we have the articles in there that count as episodes too, for whatever reason. So just refer back to the episode, and that way you'll have a better understanding if you need to, and then hop back on over, or you can just keep listening and refer back later.
Good idea.
Yeah, you have the con. Okay, so we'll go into the next question. What makes psychopaths so attractive to people? Why do they have these groupies and followers? And, whether it be a jock, in college, to an actual just general psychopath, Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez, flocks of women. How many times they been married? A couple of them been married 4 or 5 different times.
Charles Manson just got remarried.
Got remarried, and he's like 70 something.
Why
and
anybody wants to marry him, I don't know.
I don't think anybody does.
So I don't know why it is people are interested in someone who is so violent and so disturbed in their brain, and they try and act like they're all normal and when they're talking to you, but when you listen to them actually talking to another person, you're like, what in the world are you thinking? Because they've got issues. I personally believe, because I don't know, I haven't interviewed all these women as to why they're interested in them. I believe it's that whole Beauty and the Beast syndrome, which that's part of my book. That's the Beauty and the Beast. I mean, what's the whole story about Beauty and the Beast? Oh, you're such a beast, but if I just love you enough, then you'll stop being a beast. And
I can change you.
I can change you. Yes. No, you can't. These people are just like that. But you fall into that, and you just think that my love can surely change them. It's the same reason why so many women are trying to change gay men. Oh, they just need a good woman to be with, and then they'll stop being gay. No. They are gay because they want to be gay. Psychopaths are psychopaths because that's what they want.
That's just how they are.
And you're not going to change them. They're just...
Scratch the surface, what do you find? More surface.
More surface. Yes. Good point. It's
Somebody told me
all
that in
the
high
way
school.
through and through. It's not a different veneer on the top and something else on the bottom. No, it's not. It's all the same thing. But I don't know why they're attracted to them. It may be just... they're interested in dating the bad boy. It's like, oh, I'm getting kind of tired of my, vanilla life. This is air quotes, by the way. Life is boring. Oh, I'm just doing the same old thing. Oh, let's go with tall, dark, and a little bit dangerous, because it's kind of exciting. You don't realize that little bit of exciting is going to put you in a hefty bag in the back seat, in the back trunk, and getting buried somewhere. But
No, apparently not.
Right.
So why is it so sexy? Why is the dark, and even for guys, because I'm going to just go ahead and lay this out there. Guys, if you're watching a TV show and there's a girl who is a femme fatale, you are generally attracted to the femme fatale.
Right.
For whatever reason. But it's not just women, because we don't want to, we don't want to say it's a sexist thing.
We don't want to stereotype.
We don't want to stereotype, only women like the bad boy. Because guys, you and I, all of us know that we like our girls a little bit dark as well, or that little bit of darkness in them. But why?
Well, guys like it for a different reason. See, women want to save men. Men, they want craziness in the bedroom. That's why they are interested. They're just like, oh, she will be wild. And let's, fulfill all my fantasies, I mean, have any of you heard of, Basic Instinct? If you haven't, please watch that movie. Sharon Stone, she has the Basic Instinct 1 and 2. Or, what's the one with Michael Douglas and Glenn Close?
Oh, Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction.
Yep.
Yes.
Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, they just want that little bit of, oh, this is a little kind of crazy. Let's do wildness here because this isn't what I normally do. But for men, that's all about sex. And women, it's not.
It's about fixing.
I want to save you.
I want to save you.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, generally for me, just asking,
are there guys that want to save women who are on that dark side? I only ask because,
I don't think so.
Okay. I only ask because...
Not everybody is a good soul like you.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only reason I say it is because we'll just throw it out there because anybody who knows me, who's been listening to the show goes, oh, well, he's asking because he's about to tell me why. I was with a woman, I think it was 2 girls before, or a girl before I met you. It was what kind of stopped my dating stint for a while because it was so traumatizing. It was traumatizing.
Good for you.
She almost killed me.
Really?
With a knife, like skinning a deer knife, like an actual.
Right.
Yeah, she tried to kill me. She just
and
throw
if
it out
she's
there.
listening out here,
No, I think she'll be fine.
We need some professional help.
No, she no longer lives in the U.S., so we're good there.
Glad to hear that.
But yeah, she had problems, and of course,
yeah, I would think.
I think the biggest thing I think her mom said is she suffered from bipolar disorder, but I didn't realize that until after the fact.
Right.
I was already in the relationship. We had been dating for like 3 or 4 months. Of course, I was invested. So I tried to help her. She was in an abusive relationship with a Marine. Moved her into my house, tried to help her, gets my mom's wishes, because mom's never right. Let me tell you something, mom is always right.
Yes, mom.
Just listen.
Oh my yes.
Mom is always right, okay? Yes. They're around for a reason, okay? Don't go against their wishes because it backfired on me. So about month 7 or 8, she's pretty much ostracized all my friends, especially if they were women, because I'm friends with my exes because I find that common ground. It's like, okay, why can't I be friends with them? Our relationship's done. I want them to be happy. Why not?
Right.
Let's just move on. They weren't for it. So she didn't like it. I wasn't friends with any of them. I was almost not friends with my best friend at one point because she started to suspect maybe I had a relationship with him. Super controlling and super, obviously something was wrong. Mm-hmm. Well, one night I called her on it. Big mistake. If you're going to call somebody on something, you don't want to do it where...
when they have a knife in their hand.
When there's a knife around or something. So yeah, she grabbed a knife, came at me, and I had to subdue her and all that stuff, and that's when I knew it was done, and I had to get her out. That's why I was asking. I was like, because I tried so hard to save her. I really did. Mm-hmm. But there's just some stuff you can't save.
Right.
And I feel like people listening right now, take that as a note. There's some people you just can't save.
Right. Silver lining, she set the bar of standards really low for me, so good job there.
We both kind of had really messed up stuff before we found each other, and thank God we did, because when we did, it worked out, and we were like, oh, well, there is still good, and now we're nice, we're engaged and everything.
And keep in mind that bipolar does not mean they're going to be a psychopath.
No, definitely not.
Bipolars normally are not going to be attacking you with a knife.
No.
Bipolar just means that you are really depressed sometimes, and at other times you're kind of hyped up. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job of a manic person on Joe Somebody, if you are familiar with that movie with Tim Allen. He played a man who was at work and he had been assaulted, and they were worried about him suing the company. And so when the HR rep came to his house, he had been up for 2 days with Clorox cleaning stains on the ceiling. And yeah, that's mania, and that's, the bipolar thing. That's the depression, and then the mania being, kind of hyper. But yeah, most bipolar people are not, going to be violent. She had other issues. There
was a lot, yeah. Right. And we won't go into all that.
We don't have time to go into that right now.
But yeah. So, I mean, again, that's why I asked. So, so talking about that, females do just as much males, do they lean towards psychopaths? Because we hear about a lot about the ones, who get caught, the serial killers that get caught, the women. I think, because there's only been a few that have actually really been famous. I think the last person, they put 10 women to death in the United States ever. And I think Eileen Wuornos was the last woman, serial killer that was the last woman that they ever put to death. Because it's just not that common. I mean, is that a thing? I mean, have you ever heard of?
Well, again, we talked about this in the episode 4, the interview in the Red Room, about female psychopaths, and they are making a huge effort. But men are they are really above and beyond, doing the damage. The women are really not, because men are not emotionally vested. women are. And most women are very nurturing, they're very supportive, they're very nice, they're not trying to kill people. And I'm not talking about the Black Widows, because they, of course, are marrying people for money and then killing them. Yeah, those are psychopaths as well.
More like
they're all
Angels of Death kind of.
Yeah, Angels of Death. But see, now that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole different.
Yeah, they're psychopaths also, but Angels of Death are, they're a bit deluded, and they think that they are sending them on to a better place. And, so it's a different kind of twist on things. The majority of people that we see as psychopaths, serial killers, along that line, are going to be men. And they'll do it either for power or for money or for sex or control. A lot of these kinds of issues.
Speaking of Angel of Death, a show I just watched, it was like 6 or 7 episodes long. It's on Hulu, so if you ever want to watch it, I would suggest it. It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It was called Mary Kills People.
Oh.
It's actually the psychiatrist who is in here, who plays Dr. Bloom. She is Caroline Danvers, great actress. She plays a friend of Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham in this show, and they mention her throughout the Hannibal book series and stuff like that. Or although it's a him in the book series, but it's her on the show.
Right.
And she plays a nurse who kills people who are terminally ill,
right,
and who want to die and request that she kills them, and she has a whole business set up. It's actually really good. I watched. That was actually pretty. It was pretty good.
Well, because Dr. Kevorkian, who killed people, he wasn't a psychopath. I mean, he was legitimately trying to help people who felt like they could not. They were at the end of their life, and they felt like they couldn't do it themselves, and they wanted an assisted suicide. And the Angels of Death, however, they don't have the permission of their victim.
Well, that's the big difference between Angel of Death and like somebody like Kevorkian is it's the difference between malicious intent and mercy.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the one thing she does in the show is she actually gets consent from them. They sign waivers, and she films them saying that they want to, like, she makes sure the air is clear that they want to do it. And of course, still though in society, it's illegal. And you don't do it, and it's bad, and all that. But it was just, it's fascinating. In the show, they actually created that atmosphere of, it was something I'd never seen done before on TV. I'm like, I've never seen that done before, where you actually have the sympathy of all the characters involved, somebody who's trying to help these people who want to, end it, who just can't or don't have the deed or means to do it.
Right.
So it was interesting to watch. If you ever give it a
and
chance
it's definitely a moral dilemma.
Oh, very.
of whether to kill or not to kill. But.
So, in popular media, glorifying, are shows doing? It's one of those, they say, like, playing violent video games leads to mass shootings. But then you hear the argument that, well, you know what? If they weren't stimulating themselves playing these games, they would go out and commit these crimes. It's the whole,
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, and it's just, people say it, and then, you're like, I don't believe that. It's just, that would be saying that we're all just, like, mindless people and do everything that we see on TV.
The whole problem with the violent video games is that it is a desensitization, and you look at people as being objects and not as a person, and that's the whole problem with the violent video games. And that's the same problem with the horror films. Unfortunately, horror films, they always kind of add in the sexual sadism to it, which is why I really don't like horror. Well, I don't like horror movies for a lot of reasons, but they're scary. But horror movies, a whole lot of them, they will link together sex with the horror films. I can't remember what, I had to watch a film when I was in my bachelor's program in psychology, and they were looking at the link of sex with the violence.
It wasn't Saw, was it?
It wasn't Saw. That was. I'm older than that. This was way before that. I think it was Nightmare on Elm Street. And when she had the nightmare, it was right after she had sex with her boyfriend.
I never got that.
Yes, and then there was something else they were in the bathtub, and the hand comes.
And the hand comes right between her
her legs. and they're linking the whole thing, and this is the whole of violence against women, because they're not doing it to men. It's violence against women, and it's very sexual, and linking the horror, and that's kind of.
Wow, I never got that.
Yeah.
And now I'm just
it's very
it's subtle.
seductive, subtle. Yeah, it's
wow,
objectifying women. It's linking sex and violence, brutal violence.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So.
It's just like, what was it, the video series that we watch on YouTube, Destry? He's talking about the top 5 things not to do in a horror movie, and one of them is don't have sex in a cabin in the middle of the woods.
Because that's one of the rules. Because there's a rule of surviving a horror movie.
He gives the rules of what we've learned watching horror movies.
And one of them is
don't have sex in the middle of a cabin
in the middle of the woods.
You don't do drugs. You're not a bad person. If you're the main character who is a woman.
Right.
You survive. You have to go through hell, but you survive at the end because there's the Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
There's always the survivor women, which I think is good. I think in any type of movie, it's always good to have you want somebody to be a hero at the end and to go through that hell to kind of like, okay, I overcame all this crap. I won. I'm good.
Well, I think before Jamie Lee Curtis came along, they didn't have the woman as a heroine. She always died.
Yeah, she always died. What was it? I was just about to say
that.
There was Sigourney Weaver.
Well, an alien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. But it's like that. It's they have those rules where, and then one of the biggest ones was you don't have sex in a horror movie because it always leads to death, and it was one of those.
Right.
I mean, I have a book at home called 100. What was it? The 100 Ways to Survive a Horror Movie or whatever. A friend of mine sent to me because they know I've seen every horror movie since 1950 or 1940. And it's just as a study for me, because when we took film studies, that was a big thing. We went over a lot of those horror movies because there was so much in there, but I never got that about that, and now. This is what I like about psychology.
That's only one example. I don't watch horror movies, so I couldn't give you any more. But that one was specific.
Yeah.
There was another one of the sadistic side on. Oh God, what was the name of that movie? It was with the giant worms.
Oh, Tremors.
No. Oh my goodness! I can't.
You gotta give us more than
giant
worms.
I know. I'm trying to think of what is. It was some alien planet or, whatever. And oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I'll think of it in a second.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
No. But in these there was one person who was like, really sadistic, and something about their life force, whatever, was kind of like a plug connected to their heart. And, he was being very seducing and, kind of, rubbing his face, and the guy's looking all really scared and, as if, he's going to be killed because he is. But the guy is being very seducing. And then as he's looking in his eyes, he pulls the plug, kind of holds him in his arms and watches him kind of flail for life, and it's like this. It's very, very sadistic, and there are so many of horror movies that are like that. If it's not linked to sex, it's linked to sadism, and it's just.
And you just.
I don't like horror movies.
I get it.
In case y'all have.
But it's great that you're talking to us about it, because there's so many people out there who watch the movies and we never link all that stuff up to it. And
the desensitization, because if you go back and look at horror movies from 30, 40 years ago, you're like, ha ha ha. I mean, what's the movie they just redid? It.
Yep.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
I never watched it, but people, kids were scared of clowns.
I was for a while because of that movie.
Exactly. And so now they redid the movie. Well, it's now got all the new technology, and it's creepier and it's scarier, but it's a whole desensitization.
And they've got it. It's actually started creating a I don't want to say a cult following, because I hate that word cult.
Right.
Because it has such negative undertones. Because a cult in general is probably not a great thing, but when you think cult, you think Jim Jones and Yeah, see, she has a book out here.
Cults in Our Midst.
Cults in Our Midst.
The hidden menace of our everyday lives.
I mean, even in American Horror Story now, they have a cult that's associated with clowns. And I'm not ragging on American Horror Story because it's a great show, very profound. There's a lot of sad in it, a lot of happy moments, a lot of good things. But and it's just one of those. A lot of people now. The other day, I was driving to work and I saw 3 red balloons tied to people's mailboxes.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's what they're doing now. They're tying red balloons all over everything because that was a big thing in the movie.
And is that supposed to mean they want them to come?
I'm not sure. It was like
to ward you against it? Like let's put a cross on your
It was just something big in the movies, but it's creepy because you hear about it happening out in New York and it's just like people who like the girls with the Slender Man thing. Have you heard about that?
Well, no, and it kind of goes into the whole. It's funny how it just came out, with the whole new movie. Granted, it takes a while to film a movie and whatnot, but less than a year ago, we had that whole clown.
The whole clown thing.
People were seeing clowns out
everywhere, and getting quote unquote attacked by clowns.
Right. And now we have the movie.
Yeah, that just not even a year later comes out. It just seems like such, quote unquote great timing.
Yeah. And
to feed on more of that fear.
Exactly.
Which is crazy because that's what it does in the movie is he feeds on the fear of people being scared of clowns, caulophobia.
Right.
Which is actually a big thing. There's a lot of people, and I can attest in my own department that are scared to death of clowns.
Well, even before this movie came out, people were very afraid of clowns because they hide their face. You can't see who they are, and you don't know who they are. Of course, what do? Let's put your children on Santa's lap. Scary man, tell them don't be with strangers. Oh, yeah. Let's put your child on Santa's lap. And then you have crying kids, and you're like, what is going on? Yeah,
and as we had
sometimes we do some stupid things in our society.
Actually, there was a guy that I worked with who used to be a clown for birthday parties. He mentioned to me one time, and it's in an interview. Somebody mentions the same thing, but he said there's a lot of clowns get a lot of bad stigma. He said the biggest thing is from people who dressed up as clowns that were killers, and he mentions John Wayne Gacy.
Yes.
And he said, well, the biggest thing with John Wayne Gacy, he said when I first saw him in his clown stuff, I knew there's something wasn't right.
Right.
All the jagged points that he paints on his face. Said clowns don't, normal happy clown, we don't do that. It's all rounded and circular. He had jagged points on his makeup and everything, and that's when you just knew there wasn't something right. And I was like, oh, there's just psychology. Psychology is a big thing. It's everything.
Right. Well, a lot of the stuff that you're talking about you will know something is off about somebody, but you don't quite know what it is. And we had talked about that, about the whole lizard brain. If you look at micro expressions, there's a couple of programs you can actually go to, and you can learn how to read faces. There was a series that came out on Fox called Lie to Me, and that's with...
that's right, we were talking about that.
God, what is his name?
I forget his name. Paul Ekman.
Yeah, Paul Ekman has a program where you can read body language, body faces. I went through the one by HumanTel, and I think it's HuMinntel.
It is. You mentioned it when we were doing our thing. You showed me the program.
Right. HumanTel is fabulous because you can watch this on your video, and for a split second, it'll show you what the emotion is. And that's what registers in the back of your brain. You're just like, what is it? And you're not sure what it is because you don't quite see it. But you just know that there's something, kind of off. Well, because I read, body expressions, micro expressions, and body language, it's like, I'll ask, somebody something in therapy, and they'll be like, oh, no. As they're shaking their head, yes, I'm doing that to exaggerate, because they're doing something else with their face or their body language that is telling me that it is opposite from what it is that they're saying. And psychopaths will do that. They have a weird glint in their eye, and their smile doesn't reach all the way up to their eyes. They'll smile, but their eyes, you have this little crinkle here called the Deshaun. It's this little muscle under here. So that a genuine smile like this raises the cheekbones and makes this little crinkling here. That's a real genuine smile. Otherwise, it's just kind of, just a little wiggle here.
Generic.
Yeah, just a little generic. Whereas a psychopath, they might be smiling about something, but it's not reaching their eyes. Their eyes are very calculating and very, just kind of a little off. And so you're just kind of like, what? I'm not sure what it is, but he's smiling at me. And you're getting a double meaning. Trust your gut, trust your little lizard brain, and run away.
Run. And that's a big thing.
Quickly.
We're very happy to have her on the show, guys, because we actually, when we were talking about it before, we were talking about, I'll be honest, and you guys know me because you guys have heard me talk and you guys have seen my website. Although it's cleaned up now, so it's nice and very professional and just looks really nice. There is the dark stuff that I'm attracted to, but I'm always interested in helping people as well. And that's why I was so happy to have her on here when we were talking about it before, is because she adds the light. Because I bring you guys in to let you guys know the dark stuff, what's happening, and don't kid yourself that what the bad stuff that is actually happening out there, but then show you that there is a lighter side to it. And here are the things that you can do to protect yourself or ward yourself from this bad stuff, because it does happen and it does exist. And if you can look at the precursors or what am I thinking of? Indicators of this bad behavior and or psychopathy, be able to better protect yourself, so nothing bad, would pretty much happen to you, because you don't want anything bad to happen to you. And spread the word, because it's a big thing. When you guys are listening into the show, naturally there's going to be people who are saying, well, I'm like this, but I've never want to hurt anybody. No, you're not doing what you're supposed to. Don't diagnose yourself.
No.
That's what she talked about before. You have to go to school for stuff like that. And if you feel like you're, a danger, you go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and you talk about your feelings and what you're doing. Get help. But that's what's so great about having her on the show, and what we'll be doing and discussing about psychology is to talk about this stuff, not to, just beat your head in with it every single episode, to teach you, to learn, so you can prevent stuff like that from happening. So we're super glad that she'll be joining us for our psychology portion, and I'll keep doing, of course, true crime. And then, like I said, I'd like to do I had mentioned this to somebody else who had actually asked it before, but I'm going to tell you guys. I'd like to do an episode once, I don't know, sometimes during a month, where you guys send us questions. And me and her will sit down, and we'll do a little, round table, and we will try to answer the questions and our opinions on it. And then, we wouldn't want to say the best opinion will win. We just want to say, we'll answer the question to the best of our abilities. Ask us questions personally, well, Dr. Gneiting, what about this? Or Kameron, what about this? If Jessica's around, Jessica, what about this?
We're talking about movies or books.
Yeah.
Anything. That would help you, or...
Yeah, I mean, and then I'm sure she's got a complete recommended reading list. We were just talking about one of the books right here. What was it called?
The Confidence Game.
The Confidence Game.
Oh, this is a really good book. I have not finished it. I talked about it a little bit in the last interview that we did. It was talking about, con artists, and that's what a psychopath is. Except they're trying to con you out of your life, and a confidence man is trying to con you out of your money. And, or whatever. That's usually what they're trying to do. But all of these things are, they're looking at specific things in you, and they're going to use whatever kind of game they can. They've got game plans, so they're like, game A, game B, game C, game D. And okay, that's what's going to work for Kameron. I got that. Or, oh, that's the game that's going to work on Jessica. Or, oh, that's what's going to work on Dr. Gneiting. I'm going to get that. And, there's lots of different stuff.
And that's like I said, we definitely want to keep our listeners attuned to their lizard brains. That way you guys, we don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, of course. But we definitely want to make sure that we teach you guys. That's the biggest thing. I can't remember what it is that I was actually trying to find it while we were talking. We had interviewed the guy who's Steve Hodel, Detective Steve Odell, who's retired Steve Odell, who was whose father was popular
the
Black Dahlia killer. Of course, now there's some big thing going on where they found somebody who lives in Britain and is writing a book saying that he knows who Black Dahlia is and that somebody else. But I'm like, it's one of those things where you're kind of skeptical because it's so many different competing theories. His is the most concrete so far, so I'll have to read this the British guy's book and find out more about it. Of course, but and one of the things he said in one of his reviews of the show was, great job trading in the sensationalism of profiling in for psychology and education.
Right.
That's the biggest thing about the show. We want to not so much entertain, although we try to be relatively entertaining. We will be the what is it called, honey? The morning show.
Regis and Kelly.
We will be the Regis and Kelly of true crime and psychology. We will try to be, and we'll try to we want to start trying to filming some of these things. What we do for you guys, so you guys can watch them on YouTube, because that's a big thing. Some of you guys don't want to just listen; you guys want to see, because you guys are visual seers and stimulation. But it's to educate you guys, to better avoid bad things and go towards the good things.
Yes.
So yeah, but. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the questions we had.
Well, this has been fun being on the show. It's my last time as a guest.
Yep. Next time she'll be on, it'll be for other purposes. She will be our co-host.
Yay!
So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll be right back to do our wrap-up, and hope you guys have a great night. Thank you, Dr. Gneiting, and thank you, Jessica.
No problem.
No problem.
Good night, guys.
All right, guys, so pretty interesting stuff, right? And how cool is it? Dr. Kameron Gneiting is going to be our co-host now. She'll mostly be covering with me along with the psychology portions of the show, which is fine. It's amazing. I'm super excited by it. And then we'll have her in every once in a while for true crime stuff, get her opinions, things like that. So it's very cool, and we're super excited and happy to have her as a part of our team. And I can't wait to see where this leads and where it goes. We're all very excited here. So great episode. Got to learn a lot. Hope you guys learned a lot too. And we hope to have Jessica, my fiance, back for more, because I know she's starting to really get into it. So I know she was a little scarce there a little bit. She didn't talk a whole lot, but hopefully we can get her out of her shell a little bit and get her to talk in for some of these other parts and stuff. So. But anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed the episode, and I hope you guys are very happy about the news. And welcome Dr. Gneiting with open arms, because she's going to be a great addition to the show. I hope you guys are still enjoying this. Next episode will actually be about a true crime related incident. Something that happened out here in North Carolina back in the day, a long time ago. But it's something that's always plagued my fears ever since I was a kid and I heard about the story. So I'm going to be talking about it with you guys, which is crazy because it's approaching Halloween and it's scary stuff. We will have a special Halloween episode, probably a small one, like a 15-minute, 20-minute episode, something like that. I'm just going to talk to you about a couple things about Halloween, things to do to keep yourself safe, checking candy, the usual rigmarole, but also a couple of cool things like little tidbits and facts about Halloween, and where it came from, things like that, which is pretty cool. It's always nice to find the origins behind holidays and things like that. So, but anyways, next episode will be probably within the next 2 weeks or so, and then we'll have an episode probably immediately after. We'll be discussing. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. We'll be discussing multiple personalities. So we're super excited about that as well, and Dr. Kameron Gneiting will be back for that. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this and are enjoying this. Please go to our website. The link and stuff we've always had it out there. Please go to it, check it out. Click on the follow link, follow us. Anybody listening on Podbean, you guys are already doing it, so just keep doing what you're doing. Please send comments. Tell me what you guys are thinking. I want to know if you guys like the material, if you don't like the material, if you guys have questions. We would like to have an episode later where we have you guys actually send in questions for me and Dr. Gneiting. and we have a little round table and we discuss things. So please feel free. We'll also have links to her website on there as well, so you guys can go and see what she's all about. And if you guys ever have any questions or concerns or anything, please reach out. I will contact you back. I'm not one of those people that says, "Hey, talk to me," and then I don't talk to you. I will talk to you. It's just reach out and tell me what you guys are thinking about the show. And if you guys have any suggestions or any episodes or things you would like to have covered, I've already had a few people do it. Please don't